Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to say a few words on the occasion of Doug Shaggy Smith's 65th birthday. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there, Doug, but the choice of lying on a beach in the Algarve and your birthday, quite frankly, a very easy decision. Now, you may be wondering why I'm wearing these glasses. I have a prepared speech, and I wanted to give it the gravitas and the respect that such an occasion deserved. Now, this story began a long, long time ago in a place far, far away. By my calculations, Doug was born in 1951, which was marked by several far more important events. It was, interestingly, the same year that the oral contraceptive was introduced. A little too late, apparently. It also marked... Excuse me while we have a public service announcement here. I'm at the airport, in the bar.
The plane's all good to go, and then we will start boarding shortly. We thank you very much for your patience, and we do apologize for any inconvenience. שלום גבירותיי ורבותיי, יש קצת עיכוב בעלייה למטוס, הצוות עכשיו עלה, יצאו את כל הבדיקות שלהם, איך שנוכל, נתחיל את העלייה למטוס. תודה רבה.
It was also, interestingly, the year in which the 22nd Amendment of the United States Constitution was passed. The 22nd Amendment limited presidential terms to 8 years. I'm sure it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's not very good today. In Canada, almost nothing happened of any note whatsoever in 1951.
Saul and Cohen families, if you're in the lounge, please identify yourself with an allow representative. Once again, that's the Saul and Cohen family.
One notable exception to this was the introduction in 1951 of Labatt's Blue. And we shall see that this plays importantly into the story of our young Shaggy. In Sudbury, where Shaggy was born in 1951, not much important was happening there either. The crime rate was double the national average. And meanwhile, Shaggy was schooled in a religious order, where we can only suspect he was terribly, terribly abused. Shaggy escaped, finally, to Toronto, where he took up studies at Ryerson, not a university then, but a lowly community college, and soon after, somehow, Shaggy found a job at Bell Canada and was put in charge of their entire infrastructure grid. One has the image of Homer Simpson in front of the controls of the nuclear plant, steadily gorging on donuts. Now, during Doug's short employment at Bell, before he retired, he did do one useful thing. He set up the corporate gymnasium. And it was this that was the precursor to his leadership of Master's Track in Ontario, Canada, and beyond. The transition from a modest employee at Bell to the supreme leader is a fascinating story. Shaggy, with a keen interest in running and far too much time on his hands, led to his campaign for the presidency of Ontario Masters Athletics. This was a title he won and that he held on to with ruthless and vice-like fashion for over 20 years. Under his leadership, Ontario Masters Athletics became the undisputed leader in Canada and with a brand that was known around the world. And with each coup attempt to take Shaggy's leadership, he would enlist the services of young soldiers to fight off the attacks of his usurpers. One such naive young master's runner was Paul Osland. And in a brilliantly...
Air Transat page of the following passengers traveling to Lisbon this evening on flight 336. Passenger Sofia Balderman, Luis Carneiro, Lauren Hakun, and Porodka, party of 2. If you are here in the area, please come up to the front gate B37. Thank you.
And in a brilliantly conceived plan, Doug engineered a bloodless coup at Canadian Masters Athletics and installed Paul as his puppet president. Vladimir Putin would have been proud. Only something went dreadfully wrong. He had miscalculated. The puppet had his own ideas and became completely unmanageable. The tactics of fear and intimidation that Doug had used for decades suddenly became completely useless. Soon the New World Order was established under the puppet president, and peace, prosperity and calm reigned over Masters Track in Ontario and Canada. And of course, one important milestone of the New World Order was of course the establishment of the new University of Toronto Track Club Masters Club almost 7 years ago, and in which Doug played no small part. So from these modest beginnings in Sudbury to the heights of world domination that we see today, it is my pleasure to recognise all the accomplishments over Shaggy's illustrious career and his retirement. And I must say, from a personal level, when my own life has fallen apart, on occasion Doug has been one of the first to be there in the pub for me. Doug, as you now officially become an old age pensioner, I wish you all the happiness and success for the future. As you age and infirm, I'll be there for you, as long as it's not too messy. So I'd like you to raise a glass. Mine's a little empty. And a salute to Doug Shaggy Smith. Good night, everybody, and please have a drink on Doug. Good night.